Hello, thanks for stopping by. My name is Jim Falk and I'm with trailgear.org. Right now I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of the operation of the Bushwhacker wood gas stove. To set up the stove, it's a two-piece nested design, an inner can with an outer can. Slide the outer can over so both seams of both cans line up. This will orientate the air intake holes. Then make sure that the air intake holes are fully open. Next, fill your burning chamber with wood to about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch down from the top rim. Here I'm using cedar chips. Next, you want to drop in whatever you're going to use to start your fires. In this case, I'm using a few cotton balls shredded, and they've been saturated with Vaseline. You need something that will sustain a flame to get the fire going. You can also use rubber from bicycle inner tube tires. These things work great. Or you can use fire sticks. You break off a little 1-inch piece, put it in there, you light that, and that will get the fire going. Next, you need to build a secondary wood pile over the top opening. Here I'm adding some cedar chips. And then next, light your fire. Here I'm going to take a little cotton ball, put a flame to it. This will take about 3 to 5 minutes for the fire to actually start. Basically, the top wood stacked on the top will be ignited by your fire starter. It will drop into the burning chamber and it will then start the layer underneath. Wood gas stoves burn from the top down. You start the fire on top of your wood pile and it burns slowly down through the wood stack. After about 3 or 4 minutes, you'll get nice strong flame, and a good indicator is the top layer of wood should be totally charred before you make any adjustments or start to cook. Now the wood is charred, so I'm going to drop on the hot stand, and I'm also going to adjust the air intake ports. You don't need to run this thing with the intake ports full open. Full open will give you a real high flame and also burn out rather quick. So I like to slow it down a little bit. So you take 2 tent stakes or a couple pieces of wood and put it underneath the handles here. Lift up gently and just rotate a little bit, closing ports, the air intake ports. Here I've got the air intake port about a 1/3 of the way open. At this point, I'll install my windscreen. Here I'm going to use an updraft configuration with the air intake holes on the windscreen on the bottom of the stove. And then I'm going to place my cooking pot, which is a 4-cup mug. That's also an optional upgrade with this stove. And what I do is I wrap it in aluminum foil for ease of cleanup. It's a wood stove. It does create some soot. For a lid, use the bottom of a disposable pizza tin that you can get at the grocery store, and you basically form it so that it fits over the top of the stove, and that way it'll create a nice seal. I want to talk real quick about the windscreen. Windscreen is made out of 2 to 3 layers of heavy aluminum foil, and you have long sheets and basically fold over the edges. And then on the bottom you puncture using a paper hole punch, air intake holes 1 inch apart. The top you fold over so that it extends 1 inch to 1.5 inch up from the bottom line of the cooking pot where it sits on the pot stand, so there's an overlap. And you also want 1/2 inch gap around to allow for the fumes and the flame. to vent. Now, this thing's been cooking for about 7 minutes, and I've got a nice rolling boil. Let's see if we can show you that. At this point, you have a couple of options. You can save the remaining fuel by removing the pot stand, windscreen, placing the supplied lid over the top of the stove, and then close the air intake ports. This will smother the fire, and when the fire goes out, you'll be left with charcoal and unburnt wood that you can use for your next fire. Or you can let it continue to burn, and when the fire goes out, there'll be a stack of coals in the bottom, which will be hot enough to keep your water warm for up to 30 minutes.